Hey guys, and welcome back to another Tech Tutorial Tuesday. Mobile notifications are a very important and integral part of Home Assistant because they allow you to quickly and efficiently make different choices to trigger automations using powerful actionable notifications. Or they can display images or even camera feeds without ever having to dig into the app. And for those of you who have been watching this channel for a while, you're probably thinking, didn't you already make this video? And well, yes, I did. But the reason for that is that in the past, iOS notifications used to work completely differently to Android notifications. And to be honest, the iOS notifications were so much more awkward to deal with than Android. However, just recently, the latest version of the iOS app was updated to make notifications work the exact same way as they do on Android to bring them more in line with each other, which is awesome. No more manually creating categories anymore or having to remember two different sets of parameters to set. It's all just the exact same. So that is what we're going to be doing today, an updated refresh on how to do mobile notifications on both Android and iOS. And I'll show you the basic text notification, then we will do an image notification, and then we will also add buttons that can do different actions. And I'll maybe even show you a bonus little feature at the very end. If you like this video or you find it useful, make sure to drop this video a like and get subscribed if you aren't already, and let's get into it. It's worth mentioning that you are going to make sure that you are on the latest version of the iOS app, so that is 2021.5 or later. And you may also need to be on the 2021.5 or later version of Home Assistant 2, but I haven't confirmed that. And if you want to have images and links work like they should when you are away from home and not on Wi-Fi, then you will need to have remote access enabled also. So the scenario we're going to start off with and carry throughout this entire video is for some sort of alarm system. And we're going to step by step build out our notification to add images and buttons. But first, let's start off with the most basic notification of them all. And this is legit going to take under a minute. Head over to your automations and create a new notification and give it a name. Then choose whatever you want as the trigger. The trigger for this video is irrelevant, but so don't pay too much attention to that. But I'm going to set this to trigger when my alarm changes state. In your actions for the action type, select call service from the dropdown, and then in the service dropdown, you're going to have a couple of choices under the notify section. You can either choose notify.notify, which will send the notifications to all devices registered in Home Assistant, or you can select an individual device instead. I'm going to choose to send to all devices for this video, and the nice thing about that is because the config for iOS and Android is almost identical now, we can actually use the same config for all devices, whereas previously you had to create two different actions. Once you've done that, you will see three boxes: message, title, and data. Go ahead and enter whatever you want in the message and title and press save. And then up at the top you can run your actions manually for testing, which is going to result in a notification that looks like this. Next, we're going to add an image to this notification, for example from a security camera. And I've got this example image that I'm going to be using that is in my media browser, and it's pulled from the security camera, ran through person detection and then face detection, and this is the resulting image. And if you want to know how I did that, then you can check out the previous video up in the corner up here. So my image is called face_latest.jpg, and that's in my media browser, but you can attach any image that you have. Just change the path to suit your setup. Head back into your automation and down to the action section, and this time you will want to tick the data box, and then we're going to simply add our image by specifying image followed by the image path like this. Quick note for those of you using images from the media browser like I am, you will need to add the /local bit to your URL in order for it to work, even though that is not apparent. Once you've done that and saved, this gives you a notification that looks a little bit like this. Alright, so now we have a cool image attached to our notification. Let's create the first of our actionable notifications with a button that will take us straight into one of our Lovelace views. First thing you're going to want to do is to grab the URL of your Lovelace view by simply heading to the view that you want, then highlighting the URL and copying the bit after the port. In this case, it's /lovelace/camera. Then head back to your automation, and this time underneath the image that we did in the last step, you will want to add an action block like this. Under the action block, we can create a list of objects that will become buttons in our automation. First, add an action, and this is basically a unique identifier that tells the app what to do with this action. For this particular case, because we want to open a Lovelace dashboard, you will want to make this action URI. Later on, we will add custom names for our actions, but to open a dashboard, you will want to name this action URI. Then in the URI field, paste the path that we copied earlier. Save this and then give it a test, and this will give you a notification that looks like this. And that looks pretty nice. Finally, let's add one last action, which is a custom action, for example, to disable the alarm. Head back into the automations, and then under our existing action that we created earlier, you're going to want to add a new action. I'm going to call my custom action disable_alarm, and it's important that this is all in capital letters. Then give it a title the same as we did earlier, and this is going to be what's showing on your button. Now, if we were to run this automation right now, the notification would show up, but pressing the button wouldn't actually do anything, and that's because Home Assistant doesn't yet know what to do with that. In the previous video, I showed you creating a second automation in order to handle the custom action, but now we can actually do it all in the same automation by using the wait for action. Add a new action to the automation, and then we want to select wait for from the dropdown. And what this is going to do is pause our automation, and it's going to wait for the event data to be sent back from our notification before continuing. Don't worry if this sounds a little bit confusing, it's going to make sense in just a second. I would also suggest entering a timeout here so that your automation doesn't hang up for too long. Then under the trigger type, select event. In the event type box, enter mobile app notification action, and in the event data box, enter action disable_alarm. If you named your action differently earlier, then just make sure to change that accordingly. Then I'm going to add one action to disable my alarm by using the call service option. And finally, we add one basic notification just to acknowledge that the event has been processed and things have happened. Once I save and run this automation, that's going to result in our final notification looking like this. Now, as mentioned earlier, I did very quickly want to show you one bonus feature that you can do, and that is to add a live camera feed straight to the notification, which is super cool and useful. This does only work on iOS at the moment, but I'm hoping perhaps this will show up on Android very soon, maybe in the next release. And once it does, I would guess that the procedure will be the exact same. The good thing about this is that you can add it to notifications for all devices, and if it's supported, it will show up, and if it isn't, then it won't, but it won't stop the rest of the notification from working. Back in our notification, right under the image that we added earlier, all we simply need to do is enter entity_ID followed by your camera name. The nice thing about this is that because we are leaving the image in there, on Android it will display the image, and on iOS it will display the camera feed, at least at the moment until this is added to Android. Saving and testing this makes our final notification look like this. And there we go, that is an updated guide on how to do actionable notifications for both Android and iOS on Home Assistant. And I have to say, I'm so glad that they've updated iOS to be much easier to work with and make it identical to how Android works. It makes things so much easier, and it's definitely a welcome addition. Hopefully they can add that camera feed option into Android in the next release. That would be really good, and it's a very useful feature that I think Android would definitely benefit from. And so that is about all the time we have for this video. Hopefully you found it useful. We did quite a few different examples there, And you can obviously take all of the information that we did and apply it to your own setup and tailor it to your own needs. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by becoming a patron on Patreon, and your support allows me to keep on making these videos. Thank you to all my current Patreon supporters. Your support is very much appreciated. Make sure to drop this video a like and get subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video. I totally ripped something off my desk as I did that there, but I'm gonna roll with it.